Tonight, Paddy's Law finally passes through Parliament after months of debate and delay, and Broken Hill Council opens tenders for multiple local projects.
From our 7 Spencer Golf Studios, your nightly news with John Hunt begins now.
Good evening. A Port Lincoln family who tragically lost their son from inhaling petroleum gas last year has welcomed changes to how cylinders are sold. Labels warning of the dangers of huffing gas will be mandatory on all LPG bottles across South Australia.
A family's year-long battle for change finally being heard.
Small victory, yeah, but there's no winners. We're not winners in the whole situation.
South Australia's Parliament passing new laws overnight which will see mandatory warning labels on all LPG bottles.
It's just to make sure that people know what the risks are. We start a conversation.
There was a real sense of relief that we got there.
The new bill named after 16-year-old Paddy Ryan, who tragically died after inhaling LPG gas at a Port Lincoln house party last year.
We don't blame or point the finger at anyone or anything like that. We just try and cope and just move forward.
The government drew fierce criticism over the bill for stalling debate multiple times.
The thing that saddens me the most is the realisation that there might, all the other lives that may have been at risk in the interim.
This is just a warning label. This is a basic thing. Why is this such a hard thing to do? And it shouldn't have taken as long as it did.
And while it's a small win to have passed, it won't bring Paddy back. But his heartbroken family say they're hopeful it'll help stop someone else from making the same mistake.
I can't stop them doing it, but I believe they haven't got all the information at the moment, and if they still choose to do it, I've done all I can do.
Nathan Regter, 7 Spencer Golf News.
A Whyalla aged care home that was the subject of a recent safety audit is now in the spotlight again. It comes after an elderly dementia resident went missing for 3 days. SA Best's Frank Pangello says it's disappointing.
The fact that a dementia patient was able to wander outside is just simply unacceptable. Clearly their procedures, their security procedures, weren't working, and we need to know why.
In a statement, Kindred Living says it is still investigating how the resident escaped and will implement additional security measures. A driver has escaped serious injury after falling asleep at the wheel while driving on the Augusta Highway. Around 4 a.m. on Monday, police responded to reports of a crash at Bungaman near Port Pirie. The driver and sole occupant of the vehicle, a 39-year-old Mansfield Park man, was treated at the scene for minor injuries. He was reported for driving without due care and will appear in court at a later date. 3 major projects are a step closer to reality after Broken Hill City Council approved more than $3 million worth of tenders. Despite the costs now increasing, they're adamant the city can afford to build.
Council splashing the cash on 3 flagship programs.
Now what we'll see is the contracts will be signed off, and that we'll start to see, as they say, movement at the station.
$3.5 million approved for the Queen Elizabeth Park and skate park rebuilds, as well as lighting upgrades at Alma Oval and the soccer fields.
It is about the way we see Broken Hill growing. It's about the way we see the future of Broken Hill, and the councillors are committed to that.
But as the tenders were approved, the budgets for all 3 projects went up, now costing around $970,000 more.
But I think the councillors just took that this is the process. We weren't quite sure if we had the mark. We knew there could be a bit of an increase, and there was.
Crown land funding covering part of the costs, but council is also leaning on a $10 million loan. Councillors say the city can afford it and the payday will pay off.
So obviously if you're borrowing to operate, then you're in real trouble, but when you're borrowing to invest in the community and in infrastructure, then it's a good thing.
What councillors go on about is that Broken Hill needs to be more livable, and to make Broken Hill more livable, we have to provide the services to a standard that the people accept.
Lachlan Itter, 7 Spencer Golf News.
A friendship agreement signed 30 years ago between Port Lincoln and Maroto, Japan has been celebrated. the two cities coming together for a very special and unique video call to mark the major milestone.
The final piece of the puzzle coming together, celebrating 3 decades of friendship. Members in Port Lincoln and in Moroto, Japan, hosting a video call to commemorate the two cities' friendship agreement.
It's an amazing thing to have been a very small part of for almost all of those 30 years.
84-year-old Margaret Tilsner was on Port Lincoln City Council when the agreement was signed.
It passed. Everybody in favour. Yippee.
It wasn't long after that when Margaret, alongside her other councillors and mayor, visited Moroto for the first time.
There are no words to describe what that first visit was like. It was magnificent.
30 years on and the relationship has continued to blossom, with more than 800 Australian and Japanese delegates visiting the two cities.
It's made our students outward looking and realising that other cultures can be experienced in amazing ways.
To mark the major milestone, 2 identical mosaics will be installed in both cities, cherry blossom and wattle entwined.
Arigato, Moroto.
One by one, members from both cities place their tiles in the puzzle, bringing it to life.
I am delighted we have achieved this milestone.
And while international travel remains unlikely this year, organisers say they're hopeful to reunite next year. Nathan Regter, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Still to come tonight, a new job portal launched online in the Upper Spencer Gulf, and Broken Hill Council appoints a new general manager. Welcome back. Health authorities are alarmed by the continual decline of COVID testing rates in Broken Hill. Last week, just 72 people were tested across the entire Far West Local Health District, the lowest number since the process began.
The vaccine obviously is still being rolled out, and I would really encourage people to continue their vigilance in terms of getting tested.
More than 40% of health workers and emergency services have received their first vaccine since the district began its rollout last Wednesday. A new platform is changing the way job seekers and employers can boost the workforce in the Upper Spencer Gulf. The company behind it says it's aimed at providing an easier way for local people to find work in the region.
It's a one-stop shop for local jobs. Upper Spencer Gulf Jobs is a new online platform set to transform the way job seekers find work with local businesses and industries.
It's a talent community brought to the Upper Spencer Gulf region, which will bring job seekers and employees together under one central hub.
Supported by BHP and Oz Minerals, the Career Hub was created after identifying a gap in the regional market.
This portal is really important to us because it's important to the community, and it would be a great platform for people to access and see what jobs are out there.
It allows employers to showcase their local employment opportunities, to make them more visible too for local people, and allows job seekers to hop on and register and connect to those job opportunities.
With high unemployment rates predicted following the end of JobKeeper, experts say they're expecting to see more people in the labour market. They're hoping the new platform will make that search easier.
We really need to activate that local workforce, and we've got a lot of major projects, civil projects, roadworks, infrastructure, renewable energy, and people often find it difficult to know where to go to find the jobs associated with those projects.
Job seekers and businesses are being encouraged to head online to register. Katrina Musson, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
Broken Hill drivers are warned. Double demerit points are now in place across New South Wales for the long weekend. The harsher penalty applies to speeding, seatbelt and mobile phone offences, as well as motorbike riders not wearing helmets.
Leave plenty of time and just be patient. We will be out in force, and you could expect to see us anywhere at any time.
Authorities also reminding drivers to take care in recently flooded areas. 3 people were killed on the state's roads during last year's Easter weekend. York Mid-North Police are seeking information from the community following a series of break-ins in the region. On Monday night, a farming property at Beconic Park had vehicles and shipping containers broken into, with 2 UHF radios stolen. A farming shed near Blythe also had vehicles broken into. The Snowtown Sporting Club was entered with a vacuum cleaner stolen, and at Seven Hill and Lochiel, PO boxes were smashed open. Police are urging anyone with information to contact Crime Stoppers. Broken Hill City Council finally has a new general manager, with Jay Nankerville unanimously voted into the top job. His financial background one of the reasons behind his appointment, as council looks to recover from the pandemic.
At 29 years old, Jay Nankerville is the youngest general manager Broken Hill Council has ever had, taking the reins after 4 months acting in the role.
Certainly it's been obviously a bonus and a benefit being acting general manager, get a good grounding in what's required of the role.
He brings energy and experience, and his strong finance will, make sure that we are planning for the future.
And he'll need that expertise to help the city recover from the pandemic, with another deficit forecast this year. But he says council is financially sound.
Put a lot of plans in place over the last 3 to 4 years to improve our financial sustainability.
Roaming dogs remain a concern, the city averaging almost 1 attack per week. Mr Nankerville says that's an issue being addressed.
We do only have 1 ranger at the moment. We're going through that recruitment process, but it's really around responsible pet ownership.
Staffing issues also blamed for a backlog in construction approvals. Contractors used to ease the load, but there's still 63 applications pending.
We'll look to have that position filled within the next month.
An added bonus from his appointment, having a local back in the top job.
I'll be able to continue that passion in the role of general manager and look forward to working with the councillors and the community.
Lachlan Itter, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Stay with us. Whyalla are in the running to be named South Australia's top tourist town. And Port Augusta's Art Gallery unveils its latest exhibitions. Whyalla has been nominated as a finalist in this year's Top Tourism Town Awards. The city's unique cuttlefish experience, endless foreshore and brand new multi-million-dollar jetty, putting the region on the tourist map.
Whyalla's circular jetty continuing to make a splash.
Really excited to be part of the Top Tourism Town bundle and just looking forward to celebrating what Whyalla has to offer.
Now nominated as a finalist, Whyalla, along with 30 other locations across South Australia, are competing for this year's Top Town title.
This is a very exciting acknowledgement for Whyalla to become a finalist in this very competitive competition.
This new program, delivered by the state's Tourism Industry Council, is designed to recognise both well-established and emerging towns. The competition looking for places which deliver amazing visitor experiences and are also committed to growing tourist numbers.
Put a really great submission in, so I must thank the team that supported us in putting that together. So we have put a short video clip in, as well as an itinerary for the town over about a 3-day week.
Some of the key attractions for Whyalla would definitely be the jetty, the cuttlefish experience, the beautiful beach.
But the city needs your vote in order to win.
70% of the submission and the total score is from consumers. So it's about people visiting town, it's about our locals that love Whyalla.
More information on how to vote for Whyalla can be found online. The ballot is open until April 23rd. Sophia Contagonis, 7 Spencer Golf News.
A new exhibition is on display at Port Augusta's Platform Gallery, featuring an extensive collection of beadwork. The artist says each piece holds meaning, culture and a piece of history, with residents encouraged to check it out.
Opening the eyes to a different art form. This personal collection spans more than 40 years, featuring intricate beadworks from all over the world.
People are probably familiar with the Greek evil eye bead. I've got little bone skulls for the Mexican Day of the Dead, Egyptian mummy beads with little scarabs and things on them, prayer beads.
She says she was first introduced to the technique by her Danish mother-in-law.
The Danes adapted the technique from Greenland Eskimos, and they adapted it about in the 1970s to make things for their houses, just make the world more beautiful.
Each of the pieces holds a significant meaning and strong ties to history and culture. However, Linda recommends viewing one item in particular.
I'm particularly fond of a pair of North American moccasins, and they have bead embroidery on them and fur trim that, according to some books we've looked in, might be coyote fur.
The exhibition will run throughout April, with residents encouraged to visit the platform gallery and check it out.
I think this is a perfect school holiday exhibition because people can come through and see something that's a bit different to the normal art on the walls as such.
Katrina Musson, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
Music SA is bringing its annual Umbrella Festival to the region this year for the very first time. The event offering the opportunity for local vendors to collaborate with local artists, helping boost both industries.
It's a festival bringing life to the city during a time of year when most people stay indoors.
The Umbrella Festival is an open access live music festival in winter to activate the entire state. We're excited this year is the first year that Umbrella will be going regional.
Music SA is spending the week touring the region, travelling to Whyalla and Port Lincoln to speak with local venues and artists. Ms Walden says it's the perfect opportunity for the music and hospitality sector to both boost their COVID-impacted industries.
Being an open access festival, anything that sits in the live music kind of category is open for registration. So currently all venues have free registrations.
Running throughout July and August, Whyalla's Left Hand Club is getting excited.
The main reason we've got on board is the opportunity to showcase some of the young musicians we've got coming up through the musical ranks in town.
The club, already known to be musically orientated, holding Friday open mic nights and hosting regular gigs by interstate blues musicians.
We're planning to do a weekend of original music towards the end of the festival period.
Information on how to register can be found on the festival's website. Sophia Contagonis, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
Stay with us after the break. We'll check what's biting in the Spencer Gulf. And Alex Sykes will have all the details about the Easter weather forecast. Hello again. The Spencer Gulf will be a busy place this Easter, with anglers looking for a feed over the break. Here's our fishing experts with their tips.
G'day and welcome to this week's fishing tips from Port Augusta, Jewel of the North. Well, the Easter weather's here. I've brought that. That's absolutely beautiful at the moment, nice and calm. And to be rest assured, the squid have actually arrived. They're sort of getting a little bit further north now, up around the powerhouse, but you can get them all over the place, especially on the jetties at night. The big moon's up. The garfish will go a little bit deep, so don't worry about going dabbing for those, but they will be out there. Crabs still around, but the King George whiting have actually moved in a little bit as well. And you're getting some nice big flatheads out in those middle banks. There's some nice big snook out there, and that's all we have from the Jewel of the North.
Hi, Whyala's fishing tips this week. It's looking like a fantastic weekend of fishing over the Easter break, so definitely get amongst it. Along the Whyalla foreshore and down towards Cowes Landing, it has been going absolutely off with big numbers of silver whiting coming in. Most people hitting their limits quite easily. Prawns have been the go-to bait, and working in the knee to ankle height depths have been the go. Some blue swimmer crabs still being raked. Plenty of crabs coming in from the boats and some nice squid starting to move in right across Whyalla. Best directions have been down towards Mount Young.
G'day and welcome to Fishing Tips in Port Lincoln. Locally out from Port Lincoln there have been a few tuna still hanging on Rosalind Shoal. There's also been some really big snook on the shoal as well, and funnily enough someone caught a tailor out there last weekend. The tuna had been feeding a bit better earlier in the day. Best whiting reports we've had have been from Spilsby and also Thistle Island. Over at Coffin Bay there had been some whiting moving into the bay system, along with some really nice garfish and some salmon trout. Well, that's all for Fishing Tips this week. Happy fishing over the Easter break, and we'll see you again with more tips next week.
And with the all-important details of what the weather will be like over the long weekend, it's a very good evening to Alex Sykes.
Thanks, John. Sunny conditions across our region today, with the Easter weekend looking to be mighty fine as well. From 3 p.m. today, Port Augusta got to a high of 34, Whyalla 31 and Broken Hill 29. Looking further out now, Port Lincoln 27, Port Pirie 33, Woodner 34, Kadina and Cleve got to tops of 32, Clare 30 and Cooper Pedy and Adelaide both reached 31 degrees. Taking a look at the satellite image now, skies are clear across the state due to a dry air mass and high pressure. Moving on to tomorrow's weather outlook now, and we'll start with the Gulf waters. Easterly winds 10 knots, seas below 1 metre, and south to southwesterly swell also below 1 metre. Those sunny conditions will continue for Good Friday. Port Lincoln 31, Cleve 34, Woodner set to reach a high of 36 degrees. Whyalla 33, Port Augusta 35, Kadina to top 32, Port Pirie a top of 34 degrees, Clare 33, and Broken Hill will reach a high of 30 degrees. Taking a look further through the week now, those sunny conditions continuing on Saturday with temperatures mainly in the mid-30s. Cooper Pedy and Kadina will both get to highs of 33. Woodner will have the region's top of 37. Broken Hill will have the region's low of 31. Port Lincoln and Adelaide both set to top 32. And mainly fine conditions for the Easter Bunny to visit on Sunday. Woodner 36, Port Augusta 35. Port Lincoln will be partly cloudy and 25. Similar conditions in Adelaide, 28 degrees. And sunny in half of the region, partly cloudy elsewhere on Monday. Cooper Pedy 35, Port Augusta and Broken Hill both 29 degrees. Woodner to top 32. Adelaide and Whyalla both to reach a high of 26. Definitely not complaining about these conditions for Easter time. Wish you all a happy and safe weekend. That's all the weather from me for tonight. It's back to you, John.
Thanks, Alex. And that's the local news for tonight and the week. We're off tomorrow and will return on Easter Monday. Just a reminder, you can follow us on Facebook, Twitter and YouTube. I'm John Hunt. Thanks for your company. I'll have updates later, but until then, have a happy and safe Easter. Good night.